course, all kids warned not to come in, but sure they came in. Both of them came in. So I'll let people come back if they're going to come back, but I'm just going to continue to talk. So, like, we'll start from the start and give a wee brief. So, there we go. Full moon lunar eclipse at 20 degrees in Cancer. So we have a full moon in the 4th house. In astrology, the 4th house is the house of the mother, the family. It's where what conditioned you, the energy signature that conditioned you growing up. And we have the full moon naturally opposing Capricorn, which is its opposing sign. But in Capricorn, we have the Sun conjuncting Mercury, Saturn conjuncting Pluto, as well as Ceres, but we'll not go into Ceres because even I don't really understand Ceres enough to help try and make you understand it. So we have Jupiter conjuncting the South Node at the beginning of Capricorn, and Venus is in Aqua, Mars is in Sag, and Neptune is in Pisces. So the other planets are working to help us out here, but this is a really, really intense, heavy energy. And people have been being triggered in the past couple of weeks. They've been being triggered from the Gemini full moon just after Christmas. But this one's more hitting people in the fields. War after Christmas, the full moon was more on communications and your surroundings. Belfast lost the plot that week as well regarding who was mental health, spokespeople and whatnot, helping out people who don't really need to be helped because they don't want to be helped. But regardless, this full moon is more emotional. It is in the fields. So it is conjuncting the North Node. Not really conjuncting it on it closely, but it's in the same sign, which means it's about emotional growth and having trust and just sort of letting fate take its course, but contributing to it, not sitting back and just letting fate take its course. It's about putting in the work. Hi. So it's about putting in the work. And eclipses bring a change of energy. So back in the days when the eclipse would happen, the air would change, which is what the ancients would say. There was a change in the air. But every time a planet moves into a different sign, the air changes, because the air is our main source of life. It's our life force. It's what we need and what makes the world go round, really. The water can exist on its own. So, Cancer, cardinal water. So it's the fluid, the waters that we are influenced by. Like I said, astrology is a body, or understanding the body, and we're a body within the body, and each planet is like the being that we live in's chakras, and they go all around, and when they're in a different sign, they are in a different energy. And so of course some align up and the planets are closer together, and this heightens up. So when two chakras are together, when you're using more than one chakra, your body heats up and the temper flares up. So this happens in the sky when there's more than one planet near each other in a given space. The temperatures will start to change and they'll give out a different energy. So we have the Sun conjuncting Mercury, and the Sun is our actions, our ego. It's what we are conscious of. It's the conscious self. The Sun rules the eyes, the soul, the spine. It's the light that's in us that creates, it's creation basically. And without the Sun, there's no life or no flowers or no food and blah blah blah. Mercury is conjuncting the Sun. Mercury's either in front of the Sun or behind the Sun. It stays really, really close. It doesn't go two signs in front or two signs behind. It's either or it's conjuncting. Now when Mercury conjuncts the Sun, this is fast downloads of fast downloads, information processing at a really top speed. So this is making people act out without really thinking or processing the information that they're downloading. And Mercury rules the mental body and the nervous system and all the automatic functions like breathing and blinking and the digestive system. So like everything is linked, and the planets are the chakras of the body we live in. The planets rule certain parts of our bodies too. So it's easy. I'm not a doctor. Don't want to be a doctor. But if you have something wrong with you, and the likelihood is wherever that part of in your body, if I was to look at your chart, and I could see a fault in your chart, I would be able to not balance it out, but that's the way it works. So I am air dominant. So naturally I am sweating right now with nerves. I'm not nervous. I don't have low self-esteem. I'm confident, but my body is still really nervous because I'm constantly picking up, and all I do is just sweat because I'm constantly picking up and absorbing from around me. I've learned to do it from a more detached place, which is helping, but at the same time I'm water and air dominant, so it's intense. So these energies have been right up my street really. The past couple of weeks have been insane. The clarifications and even the interruptions and the deceptions, they've just all been beautiful for my growth personally. Okay, where is it you're located, Robert? What part of America? So, like it says, the sun rules the heart and the eyes and the light beings that's in us. The light particles, I should say. And it's our aura. With Mercury being air, it's the messenger and the thoughts and the processing, the coordinations, the surroundings, our environment. It's our sensory system, so it's what we pick up from our surroundings, basically. And when they are conjunct, like this is the fast downloads and communications, fast actions, like I said, it's a charged up energy. People are acting or sort of reacting without thinking of the information that they're getting. Now, because it's a full moon, it's time to reflect and see what works and what doesn't work and let it go. Okay. Let me see. So, in Capricorn, and it is opposed, so the Sun and the Mercury is joining Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and it's opposing this full moon. So Saturn and Pluto, what's Saturn? Father time, karma, boundaries, restrictions, limits, and it's the body, it's the bones, the joints, the knees, the teeth, all that's hard, all that's solid, all the structure that builds up the person, it's reality really, but it's time, father time. We really take our time for granted on like more ways than one, and I thought that I grew up in a wrong time because working a 9-to-5 job really disturbs me. I love working, I love helping out, I have loads of qualities, but working in a job 9-to-5 for near enough the whole week, it just doesn't make sense. We've been sacrificing our time for money, and this full moon is illuminating that it's time to switch that up. The changes are already happening. It's all about patterns and cycles in astrology, but the cycles are coming to a close. Time is changing. Pluto is the subconscious. It's all that's hidden. It's the underworld. It's what we can't see. It's the institutions, everything where people are through into and shied away from. Pluto is death and rebirth. It's transformation. Now, death and rebirth on every sense. It could be on a spiritual sense. It could be literally on a physical sense. It can be a mentality, letting go of stupid ways of thinking, low vibrational ways of thinking. But Pluto ultimately is transformations and change, and it's the psyche. So basically our whole body structure on a micro and a macro level is being put on stage. The issues are there, the spotlight is on them, but it's what we are going to do about them. Jupiter's conjuncting the South Node, which means there is a possibility of falling for the old trap of who governs us and their decision making and why they make the decisions they make. Again, these cycles come from the top down. Politics is rooted in astrology, and if it's not rooted purposely in astrology, it happens because of astrology. Either way, there's no denying the statistics and the patterns and the cycles of when Pluto and Saturn come together, but with Mercury there and the Sun there, all opposing the Sun. That's our actions, our feelings, our thoughts, our reality, and our perception all being shone upon by the full moon, all being brought to light, all being addressed, but it's at opposite ends. So what we feel, think, and what our reality is in general is opposing our internal selves, what we want to do about it, what's the right sort of way. There's no right or wrong in any answer, but it's clear to see that the patriarch system is sort of changing, for lack of better words. So Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn is persecutions. We've seen this on the news and on the TV of systems being outed. All what was secret is all surface level. It's death to outdated structures, really. It's karmic debt being balanced or repaired or given. Changes in government on all levels. Literally, Brexit had to happen just before it. We'll not even go into the Iran because I was talking all last year about it. So I don't want to even feed into it because we're being triggered again. Saturn and Pluto were together when the towers were attacked, when this sort of began. Well, never really began, because when Saturn and Pluto was opposing or squaring, before that in the 90s, the World Trade Center had its first attack, but the towers came down in 2001 when Saturn and Pluto were together. Now, for America, they're going through their Pluto return, and naturally America has its Sun in Cancer, so they are also having an eclipse with their Sun, and it's all opposing Capricorn in the structures. So it is a change, but with Jupiter conjuncting the South Node, Jupiter's our higher wisdom and our higher selves, our higher conscious, and it's the big spotlight. Jupiter shines the light on what needs to be seen, but it can also blind you. With opposing the moon, there is likelihood that a good portion of the people will fall for the conquer and divide techniques, or the war. Basically, war is natural, don't get me wrong. We live in a cause and effect, reality. War is a natural. We're all at war. We're masculine and feminine. Everything's masculine and feminine. Again, not gender related, do not come for me, but everything is masculine and feminine, and that masculine charge will always be searching for that feminine charge. And when they do that, that's the only time we have neutral energy, is the purpose. So like we say, we're, as a male and female human, we're designed to procreate. But with opposing the moon, our personal drive and our personal freedoms and our personal doubts are taken over because of what's going on in Capricorn. Because the sun's there, because the action's there, because Mercury is there, which means our thoughts and our ways of thinking we're not only our thinking and talking, our actions and our reactions, are not only at war with each other, but we're within ourselves. We're at war with each other. We assume things, and our opinions and judgment, and this is like a judgment moon. The times are changing, my friends. Let me see, because I wanted to talk more on Cancer and the Cancerian energy. It's the divine feminine, and it's the magnetic. So with the masculine being the electric, the divine feminine is the magnetic. So we take in, that's why our emotions we absorb in, that's why we are conditioned and by our surroundings, depending on what they are. Everybody's brought up differently, but everybody's systems are built up differently. So the conditioning obviously doesn't work the same for everybody. We know that. You can't get you can't get an elephant to climb a tree. But this is the mother and the father in the sky having a stare down, with Earth in the middle, Earth's shadow in the middle, and we are being tested. This is a karmic test. This is a karmic cycle. It's deep and it's heavy, but why I really want to start doing lives is because the sign Mercury is the air sign, and air is so, basically our thoughts. Think your thoughts. Think of a speech bubble, and the bubble that comes up around your head, the thought bubble. Our thoughts are external. Like, we don't create our thoughts ever. Anything that comes into your head, you have been given that from an external source, no matter what you think it is. So it's learning this year. The North Node is leaving Cancer and going into Gemini. The South, which is the communications, information. The South Node, which is our past energies, is going to be in Sagittarius, that adventure. So in May, when the North Node goes into Gemini, people are going to become really vocal. People are going to speak more so people are leaving the structure and are becoming self-employed, making up their own businesses, so to taking back their power, their inner authority. But like I said recently, when I wanted to do the full moon on Gemini, because Belfast lost the plot. There's a certain individual in Belfast who gets put on people's timelines for stupid shit, but she's a vulnerable person. Not our monkeys, not our circus, like I says. But the energy that happened around the Gemini full moon just blew me away, because it really affected everybody. Of course it did, because it was a full moon, and it was in Gemini. It was a wee bit traumatizing, because it made me realise just how much people think they own their thoughts. And you don't. Your thoughts are not your own. You need to learn to decipher your voice amongst all the other voices that come from the air, from your surroundings, from your environment. The voice that is yours is the voice that says, what the fuck? So say you're sitting, crazy thought comes into your head, the maddest of thoughts. I can't even think because my thoughts are bad all the time. But there's an override of information processing. Your voice is the voice that turns around and goes, where the fuck did that come from? So say, even if you're down, if you're depressed, if you're low, you're trapped in your head. You're in your head space. You need to center yourself and center your being, and that's the heart space. You need to listen to your heart, and this is what this full moon and this cycle is about. It is finally coming to a stage where people are realising that what you're told, you can't believe what you're told on a surface level. It's what's below that matters. And with people convinced their thoughts are their own, that's dangerous. Really dangerous. You need to learn to decipher your voice amongst all the other voices, because the devil will speak to you in your own voice, but you need to know which is yours and which isn't. Gemini energy is the twins, and it's always seen as the Jekyll and Hyde, when it's not really the case. It's actually duality. It's one and one. So we are one individuals, and we're here to procreate because we're relative beings. So the Gemini is almost like a door if you look at the symbol, and what's through that door is what basically your reflection, because it's the twins. So your experiences are a reflection of how you think and how you act and who you truly are. If you're not living in alignment with yourself, you're going to be messed up in the head space, in the throat space, in the heart space, in the gut space, you know, in the root space. You're not going to be grounded. You're not going to speak from the heart. Everybody's trapped up here, and that's the worst place to be trapped, because that's literally not what we should be paying attention to. It really, really isn't. And I feel myself rambling, but I want to speak on and the importance of and in the chart, because when we move into the North Node affects the collective as a whole, as a collective, as the hive. It's a hive thing. Without, you don't get a lunar eclipse. You don't get any eclipse without the node. Sorry, I'm shaking. You don't get the eclipses without the nodal points. So they are important. They cast the shadows. They move backwards. So we are in Cancer North Node at the minute with a Capricorn South Node, but we are moving into a Gemini North Node and a Sagittarius South Node. Come May, when this shift happens and people start to be more vocal and people start to talk. And remember, Gemini's community, so it's getting back into the community and doing your piece, basically. So if Geminis are the twins, it's the mirror, it's the reflection, it's the Joker and the Magician. But remember, both are just as powerful. The Magician might create and, you know, be all that alchemy, but you have the Joker and the Jester who, no matter what throughout time, was always sitting next to the King and the Queen. So no matter how stupid the Jester is and how, by putting themselves on a stage and, you know, showing, being themselves, although the Jester and the Joker do come from a completely different space, as in retrospect, we are both, and both matter. Hi Josie. Hi Martin. So yeah, what is our thoughts? Remember, thoughts are not your own. We get our thoughts from the the changes every time there's a planet in it, or, you know, there's a shift in the cosmos. It affects down here. It filters through. Everything is in waves. Literally everything. Time, frequency, vibration, energy. You have to emit a frequency, you know, for it to be a sound, and then find the vibration, and then it becomes energy. Once it hits something and it resonates, then it's energy. But so without and the life force and all that, nothing grows. There's no storms, be it a rainstorm, you know, a hailstorm, whatever. Your body is a weather system, and that's the basis of learning astrology, and why I really want to try and simplify it and get people to understand it, not from a spiritual sense or a or from a mystical sense. I want it to come from a practical logic sense. My Jupiter's in Virgo and in the 9th house, so no matter what I learn, it needs to be practicalized for me. I need to see it in practical form. It needs to make sense. So I overanalyze and I go through it, and I've went through these wee cycles in the past 2 years of growth, really, but more of an understanding, because I met myself, like truly met myself. 2 years ago I thought I knew what I knew and was watching, I knew it all, but 2018 was a fucking weird year. It was strange, but 2019 was even stranger. I thought 2018 was like a purge for everybody. but very much so for myself. But then 2019 came and it was like, you forgot a few things, by the way, you know. But coming from a centered space in 2019, I was able to see it from a completely new perception. And now I really am adamant of just cutting out typing, writing, and using words, because language is manipulated. The English language has been manipulated, and words are spells. And I would rather just speak my piece and own it and make it my energy. I'm speaking this out here. This is mine. No one needs to take any of this message to heart, or take it personally, or take it any which way. I'm just projecting it because this full moon I want to release my feelings on what I think. But yeah, so who's with me still? People. Oh. So any questions? Because I sort of just went on a wee bit of a ramble there. Didn't really have much planned other than the chart and the energies, but of what is happening on the full moon. But the North Node conjuncting the full moon and the South Node conjuncting Jupiter. The North nodes are like a door and key. Your South Node is the energy that comes naturally to you, what's comforting to you, and your North Node is your spiritual purpose. So staying stagnant in your South Node energy and what's comfortable to you, and it might be safe and it might be nurturing, but it's comfortable. There's no growth when you're comfortable. You're stuck. So your North Node is about reaching for that spiritual purpose, and it's an energy that it's like a 2-year energy. So people of my age group, you're going to have your North Node in Capricorn, and your South Node in Cancer, like me. So we have the full moon conjuncting our South Node and opposing Jupiter, which is conjuncting our North Node. This is like, it's intense. It's personally, for me, I don't want to talk about myself. I really don't want to relate it to me. I want to keep it as a collective. But for the past 2 years, well, a year and a half from the North Node's been in Cancer, it's been really obvious that the feminine energy has been making a comeback. And it, you know, Me Too, for example, when all the celebrities come out about being touched and whatnot, that was progress. Mightn't have been what we expected or wanted for it, but it was progress. You can see that the feminine energy is being addressed, and patriarchy and the masculine energy isn't working anymore. And it's because the feminine energy has been being suppressed and oppressed. You know, like we say, we're beings. Each male has a feminine side. It's natural. It doesn't mean that you're feminine. It's your build up. And the males and the men around us have been sort of being taught to basically ignore it, told that it doesn't exist, which has led to chaos. And now a flip has to happen, and it is happening. But for people around my age, we are going through our lunar return, our inverse nodal return. People who are born from 1988 until 1992, 3, have a shit ton of planets in Capricorn. Like, I'm talking not just one planet, to a stellium, 3 or more. And to even have one planet in a sign is powerful, but having 3 or more is don't want to say that word again. It's like a battle. So whatever planet you have going on, there's going to be the first planet, which is the initiator, the leader, and then there's the final planet, which is sort of the closer, and all the planets in between are sort of bouncing back and forth because they're all trying to fight for dominance as to who's the the stronger planet, and we have four, well, five, but we have four main planets in Capricorn, and that's highlighting and bringing attention to the patriarchal system, basically, structure and order, and the status on a world sense and on a private sense. We are aware now, I know it's not just me because I've seen this in other people, but we are more aware now of what we're thinking or what we're saying or what we're doing. We're cautious because we have people, well, I'm talking to the people in my age group, recently in the past few years, from 2008, from Pluto went into Capricorn, we have been getting transformed, let's just say. But these transformations come from death and rebirth. Well, something must die in order for something to take its place. And if you're constantly holding on to old patterns and cycles of, emotions, emotional behaviours, habits, addictions, whatever it is you're addicted to, be it substances, mentalities, foods, certain people, now's the time to really release that. And on Friday, when the moon is full, write everything down. Write all the shit that you don't want to hold on to anymore and what you want to let go. And it'll go. Because now is the time. The full moon is in Cancer. This is a lunar eclipse. We're being forced to do it. So if you don't do it, I'm telling you to do it. But if you don't do it, life will teach you why you should have done it. So, like I said, I'm releasing Instagram. And I fucking loved Instagram. I loved my Instagram. I had it from like 2016 or 2015 when it only came out. And I really, really loved it. But I was the jester card. There was times, so I'm Aquarius Sun, Cancer Moon, Scorpio Rising. And for people who understand that, about 75% of my Instagram would have been my Scorpio Rising. And blend it with my Cancer Moon, even the cocky, sarcastic posts that I thought were meaningful and had like a message behind it, they were always coming from a low vibrational place, because no matter what I was writing and typing, the message wasn't being seen that way. I had people get paranoid. I would have friends thinking you were posting about them, people thinking you were posting about them, when very rarely would I individually target someone, but all my posts seemed to be like, if an individual went and read them and peeped them, they would feel like they were being targeted and that they were projected against them. And that's not the message that I wanted to portray, because for one, who is anybody to talk about anybody? Let's be real. Especially around here. Who the fuck has the right to be giving off opinions, and whose opinion's the right opinion? No one's is. Your truth is your truth, and that is it. But speak when it's needed. Don't speak when people are fucking up and their mistakes are on show, because that says more about us as a people more than it says about anything else. Because at the end of the day, we are from Belfast. Our parents were born into, were reared in a war zone. And people want to be surprised that we're all fucking nuts. Like, come on. For 30 years, the people of this country were terrorised. And before that, it's again patterns and cycles. And if astrology, I can't wait to show you all my charts and be a nerd and do more videos. But now I'm just letting me ramble because I want to release. We live in a city that has, and this small tiny part of Ireland, has been under attack for a very long time, for too long. We're having our Chiron return. We're being made aware of our wounds. Now is the time to flip it and to change it. But our parents all grew up in a war zone. And people want to pretend why so much people are killing themselves or have alcohol addictions or prescription addictions. Hello? They're probably all suffering from PTSD, is it? And no one is acknowledging that. People forget. Majority of my friends and the people I know, at least one parent was an alcoholic. Especially where I came from in Ardoyne, we were surrounded by Protestant communities. So the people, Ardoyne was really bad for drink because you couldn't really get out of the area very often because you were surrounded. And back then, before cars and before transport and all that there and the internet, people had to walk. People were poor, were piss poor. We're actually on the poverty line, and aren't we the lowest every year? West Belfast is for children's poverty or whatever it is within the UK, not just in Ireland alone. But I think mentalities need to be addressed before May comes along, because it'll take people by surprise, and people are going to be speaking on things that they don't know the full knowledge to be speaking about, like mental health. Mental health's always been an issue. Always. But the platform it has now, the social media platform it has now, I should say, it gave it its platform. Well, when the Royals spoke on it, it gave it a platform. But we're going to be nice. So, it's down to the air, it's down to astrology, it's down to the weather system in your body and the weather system in your surroundings. Are you in alignment with yourself? Are you paying attention to your triggers? Are you paying attention to your hurts, your pains? Everything needs to be brought to the surface level, addressed, healed, and let go. And once you let go, that's it. If it comes back and it keeps coming back, then you missed something you didn't address. A part of it, there was still, there's, what is that, I'm crap with sense. Never mind. But yes, please just remember that your thoughts are not your own. They really aren't. Your heart, what beats from your heart is you. That's that's our centered being. That is our centered self. Up here you're in the clouds when you're up here. And if you're always up here, it's going to be a storm. It's either going to be foggy, it'll be cloudy, it could be rainy or hail, or it could be a hurricane, it could be a tornado. But this is a weather system, and you need to pay attention to it from out of the box perspective. It's not, stop attaching God to religion and evil to the government and all that there, which was what I done for a long time. I had that martyr complex where you feel like you should save the world and save everybody, and the government's evil and they're all pedos and blah de blah. Yes, actually it is the case, but me giving my energy to that all the time stole my energy, like drained me of everything that I had. And I've been on a whirlwind journey for the past 2 years, but I'll put it into a video and not bore you with all the stuff now. But I had that martyr complex. If you're going to sleep at night and your dreams are of, the hero themed, you have a martyr complex too. If you're constantly saving or on a mission in your dream, you have the martyr complex. Save yourself. Once you do that, you can save everybody. Literally. You need to find yourself, save yourself, hurt that child, or heal that hurt child. When you look back on your childhood, we're all conditioned. We all have probably disturbed upbringings that we all have secrets, we all have parts of us that we don't want anybody to know about. But if it's sort of suppressed down, it's going to come out at times, maybe when you're drunk or you're under the influence, or you hear a song, or you're triggered to just think back to that childlike state. When you're sort of hurt or abused, or something bad happens to you when you're younger that conditions you and changes your perception. It's all everything conditions us anyway. So it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's how you react to your reality, and you need to be aware of your reality before you react to it, if that makes sense. Because reality is so different for everybody. I have my own reality, and I need to stop moving. I have my own reality, and you all have your own realities. Your truth is not going to be my truth, because hello, I've had different experiences than you've had. You've had a completely different upbringing. That's from the rich into the poor. We are the same, but we're not. We're individuals. We're all individuals. So I am going to shut up and stop, because I went completely off course and didn't really do anything that I had planned to do. Because once I talk, I keep going, but this is me. I am a fuck up. I jump over my words, and I get mind blanks, and my mind moves faster than my mouth. So I often just freeze and stop. But this is me, and this is going to be me, and I just wanted to share that. So I am releasing the low vibrational parts of myself that, one, affected people who in my surroundings. I need to stop moving. So yeah, releasing. This is a releasing moon. Release all that shit. Whatever is holding you back, release it. Come Friday, write it all down on a piece of paper, burn it, let it go, put it into the universe. It's gone. And like I says, if it comes back, you missed something. So I'm gonna read these and then piss off. Hi, Catherine. Religion, don't get me started on religion. The real Legion, it's all cult orientated. But the times are changing. Spirituality now is being separated from religion. People are now knowing that to be spiritual doesn't mean to be religious. To believe in God doesn't mean you're religious. The problem is during the Pisces era, in the age of Pisces, we attach God to a system, to an order, to a structure, the church. And look where that's got us. So, any questions, anybody, before I fuck off and leave us? No? Okay, well, bye.